Charles Gordone is known as an actor and playwright. Being of Native American, Irish, French, and African American descent, Gordone strove throughout his career to bring to light the need for racial equality and accurate representation in the theater business. Gordone spent his childhood and adult years in Elkhart. Born Charles Edward Fleming in 1925, Gordone spent his early life in Cleveland, Ohio. His mother remarried when he was 5, and subsequently he took the name of his stepfather, Gordon. That year, they also moved to Elkhart, where he attended Elkhart High School, graduating in 1944. He then moved to California to pursue a theater career.
He goes to California, enrolls in college, drops out after about a year because he enrolls in the Air Force, does his military service, and after that enrolls in California State University, where he ends up earning a bachelor's degree in drama. And that's kind of where, obviously he has an interest in theater, but also kind of his idea for equal representation and casting kind of begins, because he recognized, first, he was the only African American in his class, and also he noticed that the roles he was being offered were not lead roles. They were kind of more subservient roles, like certain productions he would be the butler or the servant. So I would assume that's where kind of that idea to more equal representation was built.
Shortly after earning his degree, he moved to New York and tried to catch his break in the theater scene there through acting and directing. He appeared in the original production of Jean Genet's The Blacks and toured with the show for 4 years.
The Blacks was a very controversial play in the late 1950s, early 1960s. It was, the content itself was seen as really very extreme, and it was kind of an in-your-face look at the racism that was going on. So Gordon acted in the play, and what was also interesting is during the production schedule he was in, he was acting alongside what would become very well-known actors like James Earl Jones, Cicely Tyson, Maya Angelou, who is known as a poet, but she was also acting, and Louis Gossett Jr. So they were all acting, and he was right along there with them.
After touring, he returned to New York and acted in a stage adaptation of Mice and Men that had an all-black cast. For this performance, he was awarded an Obie Award in 1964. Gordon became the chairman for the Committee for Employment of Negro Performers, established in 1962 by the Congress of Racial Equality. His goal was to try and educate actors' unions and set an agenda for a way to create a more racially diverse acting community. In the early 1960s, Gordon narrated the film The American Negro for the U.S. Information Agency. It tries to break down perceptions and beliefs of the white community regarding African Americans and normalizes their lives.
My name is Charles Gordone. Now, I am an American Negro, one of 20 million. I want to show you something of our life here.
This is one of Gordon's productions. He was involved with the United States Information Agency, so this film was never released to the public. We're not even quite sure if it's finished. Online you can see it's on YouTube, and it's kind of just a rough cut, so probably because it was never released, but it kind of depicts, and what I kind of assume the reason it was made is with the civil rights movement and everything, the changes starting to happen in society. Maybe the information agency felt that they needed to educate the nation, and because the way you watch it is, it seems like Gordon's portraying African American families, just showing that what their everyday life was like. So it depicts a doctor and his family, and it starts with him going to work, and they're friends of Gordon's, and it shows them having a dinner party. So what the actual intent or who the projected audience is, we're not quite sure, but it kind of goes to show and depict what's happening in the African American communities in our nation, and also to kind of show, if I could assume that for the nationwide, the people that might be afraid of the civil rights movement, that hey, these people are just like us, they live the same lives like us, they have the same jobs, and that type of thing. So they're not as scary as what you might assume.
Gordon's major success in playwriting came with his work No Place to Be Somebody. It premiered off-Broadway in 1969 and was instantly popular. Loosely inspired by his own life, it tells the story of a bar owner, Johnny Williams, and his attempts to outwit the mafia who runs the neighborhood. He wanted the production to provide roles for minority actors. One of its strengths was that the play was seen as colorblind. Gordon said, "No Place is not a race play. It is a story of power, about somebody who is stifled, who was born in the subculture and feels the only way out is through the subculture." Gordon won the Pulitzer Prize in 1970 for this work, creating the apex of his career. Gordon was the first African-American playwright to win the Pulitzer Prize, and No Place to Be Somebody was the first off-Broadway production to win the award. In the late 1970s, Gordon became involved with the Cell Block Theater program in Bordentown, New Jersey. The goal was not to create actors, but it was used for people being released from prison as a form of rehabilitation therapy. Gordon continued as a producer and in 1986 accepted a faculty position at Texas A&M where he taught English and drama. He would teach until his death at age 70 in November of 1995.